But I don't want, right, as a former player, I played for GB from 1997 to 2006, right? And what I don't want, and now I've become a coach, I've moved on, now you guys have taken up the mantle, right? I don't want you to be sitting here in 10 years telling the same story to a bunch of new guys,
and that is the
right?
problem.
Saying and me overhearing it and say it still hasn't been fixed.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the X's and O's podcast. It's your boy, Mr. Selenkay. Man, we've been like blessing you guys with specials upon specials upon specials. And today we've got another one for you. So in the building, we've got the Bronze Bomber. And Paris sent me a little paragraph.
Whoa.
To
just read the AKAs, man.
Announcing
Don't do
today.
all of that.
So we have also in the building P, aka the Young Wolf of the South, aka Sir Shirt Off Shul TV.
What?
Yeah, you
AKA
really like Floyd Mayweather
the big,
right now.
the big stepper, Magnum Sipper,
I am.
aka J.R. Smith Jr.
Junior.
There
you go.
aka the Boy Wonder.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here today, Paris.
No worries.
We appreciate you. And our special guest, we have Neo, Coach Neo.
Hey, how you doing, fellas? All right.
And we also have Coach Jeremy Sims.
Jeez.
Men of little words.
No, I've just, Coach Sims, he knows.
Yeah, Coach Sims. knows,
Man came to me and said, I will never come on this show.
Yeah.
I'm 50.
Yeah.
Man,
I guess 50 looks good, you know.
Yeah.
50 looks good,
Man,
you know.
50 looks very good.
But I guess there's a time and reason for everything, isn't there? So
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I've hit 50 in 3 years now. Jump start.
yeah. I guess before we jump right into the mix of things, it'd be good for people that might potentially not know who you guys are to let them know who you are, what you're currently doing, and how you actually got into the sport as well.
All right, I can kick off. Coach Neil Edwards. Been playing the game a long time. Been fortunate enough to I played the majority of my career in this country for the London Olympians. Then went on to win, or shall I say, take organisations to championships. The PA Knights, we won a championship with them, and then the Coventry Jets as well. I was fortunate enough was also to play overseas, be part of the NFL Europe program, and then I turned my hand to coaching after obviously a successful playing career. Once I became a coach, I started off as just a positional coach with the London Olympians, as you guys know. Coached most of you guys, I think. I guess I moved through the ranks pretty quickly and eventually became the head coach of the London Olympians when they hit some tough times. I was able to kind of, I'd say, resurge the team, get them moving in the right direction once again, the direction they should have always been moving, got them back to the Prem, and then started to compete within the Prem. Last year, I decided to make a change. We won't go into that now. I'm now with the Kent Exiles as defensive coordinator and linebacker coach, and I'm about to do the exact same thing as I did with Olympians there.
Ooh.
Damn, big energy. Love that.
Ooh.
Started football in 87, 88. 87, 88, can't remember which year.
Sorry, how old did you then?
Long time ago. long.
Hey, we can skip age. We can skip ages.
Oh man. Okay.
87, 88. And then started American football because I was doing well in British football. I had trials with British Premier teams as a youth, but with the youth academies.
Yeah.
However, family started to go to church, so I had to move a sport to a different day because I had to go to church. And sport wasn't taken seriously in my family. It was just an activity that you do. You gain social skills, camaraderie. You don't have to like people who you're with, but you have one common goal, and you know how to depend on each other. So that's why I was in sports, period. American football now, came to it, saw London Olympians at Streatham Common, travelling a couple of times back for family, saw that, got into American football there, found out a couple of guys in my school played it, and my cousin. Played with them for a while, after with Olympian youth, juniors, just got to learn the sport, got to enjoy it, and then from there I just tried to do better. I got into GB youth at the age of 17. So I started football at 15, I think around 15, and became GB youth player from the age of 17. Played over here, and we played American team out in Milwaukee. Great experience.
Wow. So yeah, just to interrupt, that's Great Britain playing in America, did you say?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you had Coach Mike.
Yeah.
He was here. Him and I, we went out there.
Wow.
We got on the team. However, there was a lot of players from our team at the time, because I moved from London Olympians to a team called London Capitals.
Yeah.
This is junior
football.
Talking about. Yeah.
London Capital Juniors. 11 of us from that junior team made the GB roster. You was included on that.
But something I can't remember. I didn't go.
Yeah, you didn't go. Yeah. It was down to funding.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of us, you have to rely on family.
Yeah.
So got there, played. We lost that game. We won our first game. The first year I played, we won when they came over. Second game when we went over there, we lost. But eventually came to senior football. Can't remember the teams. Rockets, Olympians, Capitals, Milwaukee's. No, sorry, Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes Pioneers. Played for them as well. London Mets briefly. Coventry Jets, and of course, as I said, Olympians again. And I think that was all the.
That's got to be nearly every team.
Oh yeah, London Ravens.
Team in London.
I played a game in Wales for London Ravens when I was 17 for the senior team. I played for the senior team. Great experience, but it was a learning process. I mean, the rules of those times on seniors and youth wasn't as stringent, but I was able to do it, and it was a great experience. Fortunate. I'm alive still now, but it's not a good thing to do. It's not good practice.
Yeah.
But it happened. And then eventually I was on the NFL program. I can't remember what year.
Being NFL Europe.
NFL Europe. Yes, sorry. NFL Europe program pathway. And then eventually...
We started about 2000?
No, mine was before then.
Before then?
Yeah.
All right, okay. My first call up
97, 98. I was on Euro Bowl team, Euro Bowl, Olympians, played in the Euro Bowl finals at that. Stuttgart, I played in numerous Premiership, First Division Premiership titles. I can't remember.
I
15
think
to 20.
Sorry, for people that don't, this is me as a defender, right? As a defender, for people that don't know Jeremy, he was, right, for me, right, and there's probably a handful of guys back in the day, right? So we're probably the second generation of American football players, but back in the day, I would say he was probably the most dangerous receiver in Great Britain at the time. For that is how I would describe him. Because he's taking the long route. But how I would describe him, he was probably the most dangerous, the most elusive. Yeah.
Right.
And that would be the key word there for me. The most elusive wide receiver playing in Great Britain, and I'd almost start to extend that out to Europe as well.
So for someone that was at the top of their game as a defensive back in yourself, what made Coach Sims so dangerous as a wide receiver?
I think the way I would describe it, there's two ways when you look at say a person that's of threat, right? Especially from a defensive back point of view, either they fear that player because of his speed, or how elusive he is to be able to tackle him, right? So you usually get some guys that are one or the other. Right, so there's a guy that's fast, and then you say, okay, he's fast, I'm going to make sure I give myself some space, right? Or he's real tough to tackle, so I'm going to make sure I'm real close to him. When you get guys that can do both, that's when it becomes difficult, right? Because then, should I stay close to him? Then he's going to get me with his speed. Should I stay off of him? Then when I come to tackle him, am I going to be able to grab him? Because he's so elusive. And that is where I think definitely for me. And I remember there was one time when we went off we were playing at the same year in Germany, and my team at Stuttgart Scorpions at the time was in the playoffs, right? And we was about to play the Dusseldorf Panthers.
Yeah.
And I would have been having to cover him, and he got no, I'm not going to say, I shouldn't say luckily, but fortunately, he actually got injured for it, and I was like, "Ooh," because that was gonna be a touch. And I openly say that was gonna be probably, and I was having to take the number one receiver from every team I took, and that would be American straight out of college, right? Yeah. So, and I would say he was one of the people I was thinking, oh gosh, I'm not looking forward to that matchup. That's gonna be tough. Right, so that's just to give you guys some context.
Yeah,
he's being modest and whatever not, but I'll just say it how it is.
Like
I'm just saying history. I'm not really being modest. I'm just saying, the teams I played for. Thank you, Neil. Seriously, thank you. When you've played for so many teams, it's like, wow, so many memories,
right?
And blessings behind it, because you've had so many people in your life to help mentor you and help you to progress and excel and get to certain places that you didn't even know you can get to, and push you to limits that you had no idea that you can do. You might say, oh yeah, I can do this and that. And you get there and you try it and you're not sure, but then you have a coach that says, just give me one more. You can do it. Give me one more. And you do it. And you put everything all out. Yeah. It's that people are in forces, forces in army, the thing called force peak. So you've run your heart out and lungs out, and you're like, coach, I haven't got no oxygen left. And they goes, just stay in there, give me one more. Wow. And you give one more. And then they do it again. I've seen Neil, when we played on the same team in Germany, before him and I went to a different team. Yeah. And the coach done that to him. He's done it to me. And we pushed ourselves. But we were fortunate we had coaches in the UK that helped us get to that level. Not just coaches. There were players before us, like Neil said, that helped us get to that level. They were mentors. Yeah. Some of the coaches, one of the coaches is Tony Allen. Yeah. He been coaching me since I was small, since I was very young, and all his expectation was, you can do it. Make a play, just make a play. Yeah. Not many people are used to that. It's a different story. People always got excuses. I had loads of excuses, but I'll tell you this, I wouldn't say too many of those excuses, because it was like, just make a play. And you know what? I felt bad when I didn't make a play. Doesn't matter how good the opposition is. You can always do better. How can anyone say that they can't if you've never tried?
Word.
Let's fast forward a bit, let's specify this a bit. NFL.
Yeah.
What was the buzz and what atmosphere around that whole NFL and its quick demise?
When you say the buzz, like going off to camp,
the training regimes, what the sacrifices you both had to make in terms of getting yourself to the best, giving yourself the best chance. Yeah. Not only that, I want to know about this scary treadmill. Everyone keeps telling me about it. And just talk about your mindset and how much the NFL pushed you mentally.
Well, if I jump in first, firstly, a good example that I like to use, right? And the reason why I use this is because of where that player went on to be and how far is good. My good friend Adam Dirty, yes. Right? Now we had been to a few camps. Me personally, I found those camps hard. I found them really hard, and nobody will ever probably air themselves out, but we've got stories that we wouldn't bring on air, right, where guys got broken down, right, broken down to the point, I've seen grown men cry at those camps, cry. Guys that you were playing with on the football field bursting into tears because they are so pushed to their limits by the coaches. So to give you a little bit of kind of context, it was tough, man. And because that was our first opportunity at potentially winning a professional job, a professional contract. Yeah. And every practice, it's like us all being in this room and they say, right, one of you guys, we're going to give you £1 million. Right, fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fight. Go ahead. That's when I use the word, right, let me tell you, I'm not even sometimes lying. I'm saying we get to the point, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but sometimes if practices weren't going the way, they'd encourage you almost to say, right, I ain't going to go as far as to say fight, but I'm just going to say that let me tell you, you were fighting. Right, this was the first opportunity for any of us at this level, right, to try and get it. There was a small group of guys with the London Monarchs before, but I think it wasn't as open in terms of the selection process, right? It was just like they selected the best guys at the time.
Actually, no, they did. They went around the country. They had different.
I know they did, but pretty much they took the top guys. What I'm saying, NFL Europe, it was an open trial to everyone around the country. And let me just finish my point about Adam Dirty. The first time where he came to camp with us, right? And I'm sure, I hope you won't mind me saying, because of how good a player, one, he was, and where he went on to be. Yeah. When he came into the room when all the players were, his eyes was about that big, right? And I remember he was looking around and he was like, whoa, he knew, he said, wow, right? This is gonna be tough, and it was. And those guys that were fortunate to stay around the program, and they got better each camp. They got better the more that they played with the top players. They all got better, and so yeah, just my experience of it. It was tough, but if you fought your way, your way through. Yeah, you came out the other end a different player. You came out the other end a different player.
I wasn't at that camp. I was injured. I recall. I was a big career injury, but the camps before, and then when I went out to Tampa, I was selected because I played in Germany, so I got selected through there, whereas Neil got selected through UK. But I have to say, you got to be a different type of beast, I will say. I'll say beast. Bring in some things. You got to dig down deep and appreciate the fact that you can do things, even if you don't know you can. Remember, not everyone knows you. I mean, it's different for me. I played in the UK. I played in Germany. And Neil at the time played in Germany before the camp he went with Adam Dirty, so they had an idea of him. They knew him. They knew me, and as far as I was concerned, that was my first camp with NFL Europe. But I purposely made myself known, so including the people that knew me, and Neil was a DB. Right. There's a few other British guys who are DBs. They're Roel Blenman, Michael Dunson. They're all DBs. And then there was like Russian, German, French, Italian.
Mexican. Ballers from everywhere.
These are guys that have been there already, been NFL Europe already. Some of them have been there already. I think maybe one or two. Me, I just knew who I was. Right.
I knew who they were.
Yeah.
But I got to believe in me.
Yeah.
You have to be not just your number one fan, you got to believe.
Yeah.
So I just went up to every single DB and I said, I'm going to do this to you, that to you, do this to you, that to you, this to you, that to you, this to you, that to you, that to you, and that to you. I didn't care.
Damn.
Far as I'm concerned, we forget this. Forget about the physicality of any sport. Don't people beat people mentally?
Mentally, yeah.
So if they don't know who even if they do know who I am,
No,
my
they
friends and so forth, and I say that, especially men have egos.
don't. Yeah.
So if you attack a man's ego in front of other men, now they're going to look to want to do something to you.
Yeah.
Talk about the Birmingham Bulls when you tried to do that with the Birmingham Bulls back in the day. Talk about that experience.
Before I do, I'll just say this. I did deal with a lot of these guys. all of them when I said what I said.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I had the ability and I'd practiced with a lot of them and played against a lot of them. So I had that belief as well. I had coaching from previous to help me. Birmingham Bulls, I was younger. That was before I even got to that stage. I didn't say that, but one of my mentors, brilliant friend, God rest his soul, Leroy Ennis, bad man, wicked. He can play. He was a baller. He helped me so much, so much. And Wes Garth as well. Wasn't a fast receiver, but just knew how to do certain things and catch the ball well. And Moon, who was a quarterback. I played against Paul Roberts and numerous other people, big guys, and I'm young, between 21 and 23. And they just look like men. And I'm a boy, even though I was a young man.
Yeah.
I played throughout the season, and this was during the season, and played against him. And then this guy, Paul was giving it the mouth, saying loads of stuff. Me, I weren't used to that. I turned into a mouse.
Wow.
A mouse.
It can happen.
This guy intimidated me with certain things. I was running, trying to catch balls, and then I just thought, just do something. So I caught a 5 and hitch, and Paul was saying so much things. No, before I caught a 5 and hitch, all I knew was, I think Leroy caught a touchdown or something like that, caught a pass in the end zone, and then they started to kick me at the back of my heels. Wow. And when they kicked me at the back of my heels, I realized that I'm not that guy where we do the intimidating. They are. Yeah. And they were saying some stuff, cursing words, frightened me. And I was there saying, yeah, touchdown. And they said something to the other, boy, tell your boy, Leroy, tell your boy how we're going to do this to him and that to him. And there was me like, oh my gosh, these guys really, this isn't football. They're not going to try and do stuff in football. They can't do that. There's too many people around. I was thinking, but this is football.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, I had to get out of my shell. Whatever happened, they're doing all that. I caught a 5-yard hitch. I shook certain individual on their own sideline and ran down the sideline. Boy, that right there made my head go, yeah. And I was like, that's right. I'm going to do you again. But he gave me props for that because I did it on his sideline in front of their bench. I think the only reason why I did that, I was scared.
Yeah.
When you're scared,
fight
you do whatever. You can fight or flight. Amygdala, it kicks in and things like that. But you have to listen to certain coaches that or all your coaches. Yeah. But you got mentors, you got coaches, you got people there who have that experience that can bring you to that level. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't have that experience. But if they can say something to bring something out of you, that can help you. The thing is, you need people with a certain level of having an understanding of how it is to be there, and they can bring that beast, that animal instinct out of you to do what you need to do to push yourself further. And I had that. I had a great supporting cast. So that helped me a lot. Tyrone Lindsay was our OC at the time, and he was also a good coach.
I would go as far as saying that this generation of ballers is better than the previous generation.
This generation of ballers?
Ballers, yeah. Athletes and ballers.
So rephrase that question
Ballers
again.
or athletes?
footballers.
So this generation playing football now.
Yeah.
Wait.
Sorry.
Can I pause you guys?
Say,
let me pause you guys. Can I pause everyone for a second? Because you said you was never gonna come here, but you're here today for a reason.
Because I appreciate that you guys.
But before we go into that, we do have something to address. You know what I'm saying? So obviously there's been a regime change in BAFA. You know, we've got a new CEO, and there's been some changes with GB. You know, that's why we're really here today. So we're gonna go into that, but that's like a separate conversation afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we need to get to, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
You know,
That's fair enough.
that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
So who wants to ask the real questions that you want?
Experience in terms of coaching at GB level, because we both know that you both are currently GB coaches, as far as I'm aware.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. So talk us through that.
Haven't been told any different. Nobody's told me anything.
So let me. Okay. There's been, obviously we all know that there's been a change of head coach. Right. Mike Callan was the previous head coach. When we was we went to the last outing we had at GB. We went to Sweden, and unfortunately we weren't able to come back with the win. When we heard that from Mike that he was stepping down, the last thing that we heard was that probably with a new head coach coming in, the likelihood is that we'd probably have to all the jobs would now become vacant, and we most probably would have to re-interview for our positions, which is totally understandable with a new head coach coming in. The new head coach has now come in, as we all know. Jason Scott is the head coach.
Right.
I was a little bit surprised for a while that I didn't get any type of communication. Right, and we both spoke, Jeremy, and we hadn't had any communication. Then, of just recent, I started to see some talk within some of the WhatsApp groups, the GB WhatsApp groups, and which obviously we was still a part of. Talking about meetings. So then I was like, well, I'm not aware of any meeting. I contacted Jeremy. You know, are the receivers?
I contacted certain receivers that were in the last GB games, and a few of them have said no, they didn't know. One receiver said he was contacted by.
But we're talking about the meeting,
no
meeting right now. Okay, so let me just continue.
No, one other receiver told me there was a meeting.
Okay, so then we became aware that there was a meeting happening. That we.
Is this a coaching meeting, or was it just a whole GB?
Well, at the time, it was a kind of a GB meeting, because it was players that were talking about being present for the meeting. Okay. Right, I guess it was because of the lockdown and everything. This would have been a Skype or a Zoom meeting.
Normally we're contacted.
we weren't. I was surprised to not be contacted. So just to move on from there, is that subsequently, what had happened is that a new coaching staff had been named. Right. Because at this present time, the lineup hasn't been publicised. But it has been told. Obviously, the new staff has been told. The players have been told. Right, but curiously to myself, right, I haven't been told. So to just get the elephant, as you said, to just get the elephant out in the room, I've been replaced, right, without being told, without being contacted in any form, right. And I say both of us. It's happened because I contacted Jeremy, and it's the same has happened to him, and we've been replaced. And now let me just say. The reason why, and this is part of the reason why I'm here, right? Because why I think it's out of order. Not just the fact that I've been replaced as a coach, right? Because these things happen, right?
They do.
As far as I know, the new person coming on board could potentially be better, right? And we can go into that, right? But firstly, I think when you give your time, right, to a program. Right, free of charge, and also, we met all the requirements. We went away with them, the expense and so on and so forth, right? nobody to then say, well, look, we're deciding we're going to go another direction, but thank you. Thank you for your time with the program. Thank you. You know, if there's anything or there's any other roles or whatever, we can talk about that in the future, because, you know, potentially I consider myself a good coach. I consider what I did for the program to be of value. Coach Jeremy was with the program even longer than myself, right? No thank you, no indication that, no, so this is why, right? Not only that, I think the reason why it's almost disrespectful to do it in that way is because we wasn't even given an opportunity to pit ourselves.
Not almost, right? It is disrespectful.
It's disrespectful to pit ourselves against the candidate coming in. There's been lots of talk about having the right people for the job, or the best people for the job, and that can come in different guises, right? But for us to not be able to, because we obviously wasn't contacted, so I couldn't say, well, I'm still interested in doing the role, right? So let me tell you what I can do, right? New head coach, because we don't know each other, he doesn't know, maybe we could get on great. So it can't even be that, well, you know, because sometimes there's a bit of it, we know that a head coach needs to have a bond or have a relationship with things, but then sit down with me, or at least have a conversation with me.
Or give you an opportunity to reapply. So they didn't even let you know that there was,
or even feedback at the very least. Like,
that is just not how organizations should be run. And any organization that wants to be taken legitimately, right, should be making sure that is not, right, a practice that takes place within their organization. And let me just quickly go on to, before I know you probably want to jump in, right? Part of the reason why I then definitely said, you know what, I got to come onto this show, right? And I want people, right, or players or members within BAFA to understand this is what sometimes takes place, right? It's because BAFA, I'm sure you also recently sent out a message because of Black Lives History Month. Great, you know, they sent out some things saying about how, you know, how important it is to them, and they made a point to say about diversity within the organization and thinking. Now, let me just highlight to you all, because you might not know, right? Myself and Coach Jeremy Sims were the only two black coaches on the men's senior program, right? With us being replaced, right? That we've been replaced by two white coaches. Now,
the optics look terrible.
It
just looks terrible. We don't know if it's malicious.
But
it definitely just looks terrible.
What I'm saying, the timing, right? Because if you're going to release a statement saying we take diversity very seriously, right? But we've just allowed the GB team to release our only two black coaches and replace them with two. Now, none of us, right, and some people may disagree, I personally think that you shouldn't be given a role just because of the colour of your skin.
100%.
Definitely.
Right? I can't agree more than that.
Right? I know some people might have other, but that's my personal view, right? So, but if you believe that there should be diversity within your organisation and you're about to take a step that's going to change that needs to be looked at, right? You should say, right, if we're going to, right, BAFA or whoever governs this process, and we've been told that there is a governing process and there's a strict process in place. Before new changes were made, they would have said, before you get rid of these coaches, because we're going to now be going back on our diversity statement, is that the correct thing you're doing? Are the new coaches that's coming in going to be better for the program than releasing these two black coaches? If that's the answer, great, move ahead, right? But it's been transparent, and I think transparency is the key word here. Where was the transparency?
Can I just add something? The only reason, to be honest, race isn't a factor, but the only reason it's now a factor is because of the current climate, and it's just terrible timing. And a standalone issue, it was the way they handled it. From the information I got from you guys, it was just disrespectful. You know, no email, no nothing. You know, they just kind of moved
They have
ahead.
our mobile number.
Yeah.
They have instant messenger on Facebook. They have our address.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even more contact. There's so many ways.
Yeah.
They have all that.
But there's no obligation
There's no obligation
to contact you at all.
No.
So there might not be an obligation. There might not be an obligation.
We are still coaches. If you can't tell us that we're not coaches, if you told us we're not coaches, then you don't have to tell us anything else. But you haven't told us.
Can I
But
give
there's
you?
still no obligation.
Can I give you?
So I should waste my time still planning for
every
potentially
time
next tournament.
There's no
Yeah,
To
so
be told that
V, can I give
that's
you?
what he would his potential defense could be. I'm not obliged. I don't know these
that's
guys.
not good
I understand.
V,
But,
can I?
but
Who
you have to
doesn't
look
know
at it from both perspectives.
the head coach?
V.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's true.
In the
He
nicest
may
way
not have
possible,
to.
he's telling you, I don't need you guys.
I understand that.
V.
You're right. He may not have the obligation, but we're not talking about him as a
we're talking
specific
about Bath as an
person.
organisation.
Yeah.
We are
The
talking about an
organisation.
organization. So whether it's the head coach,
The head of national
head
teams.
development, or whoever it is, whoever the people are who usually contacts you,
Yeah.
why haven't they contacted you? Why hasn't BAFA contacted you? And the reason why, to me, that is because, like you said, they don't feel that they have to because they have no respect for what you've done, who you are, and whatever you can bring to the table. If they had respect, they would have done that. You don't have to like somebody. They should respect themselves to do that.
But they
You
haven't
don't have
contacted
to
you.
like an individual to give somebody simple common courtesy.
Common courtesy.
yeah.
You
But they
don't.
haven't contacted you yet.
How
But
long
there shouldn't
There's
be
no
a
time
yet.
scale.
It shouldn't
There's
be a yet.
It's a
You've
media.
Okay,
been
you're
in
right,
place.
you're right.
Are we preparing
You're
for a game?
right.
Is there a
I'm
game?
saying you're right.
Yet.
They
The
haven't
key word
contacted
is
you
yet.
yet. The problem is, and the reason why I say you're right, yet. How long's a piece of string? Hold on. The head coach has come in a while ago,
Right.
And was
right?
announced.
And some of us happen to know that there is staff
Right.
other than the head coach.
Is it
So that
official?
means
let me answer your question.
wait,
Can I
wait, wait.
answer
So
the
when you're
question?
having
It's not
meetings,
been
Before you go,
Each other.
this new staff, I'm pretty sure they've all been made aware. So are you trying to tell me that?
And
they weren't
this
You
is
don't
this is
do
this
that.
is the finest.
Officially, it
And
hasn't
the
been
play.
announced.
I tell you why
Officially.
I disagree with you. What makes it official, right? If we all work in the building. We work on the first floor, right? We suddenly have a meeting. I tell all of you, I'm the manager. I tell everybody on the first floor, right, that that you're sacked, basically, and I'm bringing in someone, but I don't tell you. I've told everyone else now, right? That's what makes it
turn up to
official
work.
because you've told everyone. You've told everyone. So once that they have a meeting and everybody is informed,
Right.
this are the changes, right? But I haven't told the people that the changes have happened to. What is that about?
So as a coach, you never done that to a player before?
No, that's
You
not
never
how it
told a
works.
player, you ever not told a player the reason why you benched him or he's not going to play today?
V,
or
hold
he's
on.
turn up?
Understand,
Listen,
V.
you don't have an obligation.
V, can you understand the
You don't have an
anecdote?
obligation.
The
As
anecdote
far as I'm
is
aware.
the anecdote.
No,
the anecdote
you don't
is-
need to tell me what. I have
Okay,
to
let
say
me-
what I
let me
want
say
to say. And that's
Yeah,
my
no,
opinion.
go on. I want to hear
You
what
don't
you
need to
have to
tell
say.
me. That's my opinion.
Sorry, I want to
the
hear
answer
what you
to
have to
your
say.
question
Go on,
is no.
go on, go on.
Wait,
go on.
wait,
You would
wait,
have
listen
to.
No, no,
You
yeah,
would,
say it.
or
I don't know
if
what
the
you have to say.
person, I think he kind of directed at me. If I was, and obviously I'm running a team or whatever, and this week I want to go with, say for instance, you was a starter, and I'm now going to make that change. There is no way I would just turn up on the day and you just suddenly see, or a better example would be captain. Yeah,
Right.
because that would be because you're used to being the
Yes,
captain.
yes.
Right? And then suddenly I've made that change and I've not told you, and you just suddenly see another guy, you'd be like, because wouldn't you be about to go out thinking, if I haven't mentioned it to you, that your position is still as it was previous. So then but you go to fulfill that captaincy role, but somebody else is there and he will look, because now it's awkward for everyone. It's even awkward for the new person that's
Right.
been given the role.
Right.
Because he hasn't even been, because he might think that discussion's been had.
Yeah.
Right? And then so you go to run out. No, actually you're not going.
Yeah.
That is down to, and you would then have every right to come to me, even as the head coach, and say, what the hell is going on? Is that how you're going to treat me? Is that how you treat your players? You were not even going to tell me? That's not how, right? And I would, and it would be, and I would, and I would, you would have a legitimate gripe, and I would be like, I would be in the wrong, even as a head coach. Now you can say I don't have to, right? But there's a couple factors there. One, that would never happen because, right, if you've got any type of, any type of. Gosh, what is the word? Yeah, I was going to say manners, but I mean, I think that's probably not the right word. Decency,
or
right?
Professionalism.
Or professionalism
is the one that I would have gone with.
Respect for individuals. Respect for individuals. I would have had that conversation with you. That scenario should never happen.
It's a very arbitrary thing to do.
But based on what,
it's very sneaky.
As far as I'm concerned, with all due respect, the national program is suffering.
Yeah.
Okay. And
yes,
as far as I'm concerned, you, Coach Sims and Coach Neo, you know what it used to be like. So don't sit here and say you don't know what it used to be like and the level it used to be like. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, we can't respect that. And I don't expect anybody to respect that. So if you're coming here and saying, you're owed something, as far as I'm concerned, the last outing of the national team, the adults national team, was a disgrace.
Against Sweden.
Finland was just about won, but Sweden wasn't.
Winning is winning, right?
No.
No. When you say just about one,
it's winning.
What's the rule?
It was Russia before Sweden.
Listen, I played in a game that we won one game, and this is back in the day. People can say you just about won, but that team won, and they got the national championship because of a safety. Right. So never use just about. If it happens, it happens.
You mean changes needed to be made? Is that what you mean?
We won one, didn't win the others.
Needed to be you two.
Plain and simple.
Can I speak?
But changes needed to be made.
Can I speak? Yeah. Can I speak? That is entirely separate. Like, regardless of the GB's record or whatever's going on with that, that's entirely separate from how they dealt with the previous coaching staff. At the end of the day, if you're hiring new people and you've already hired them, then you've got you do have an obligation to let the people know who was in the position prior that they no longer have a position. It's very basic. It's one mass email. It's like that. It's the day of instant communication.
Yeah. But how do we know that that's not on the agenda?
But it shouldn't be on the
agenda.
They've already hired them.
They've already told
you guys. If they haven't told the new guys already, I'd understand. But
all right, you're right.
Told the new guys.
Sorry. I right. Yeah. Not to defend what you're saying, but at the same time say something which you're saying. How do we know? Everyone so far has said, and whether or not you're being devil's advocate here, how do we know? You've told somebody else to come in.
Right.
Then you've told somebody else to recruit more people to come in and do the job that I was doing. I don't know this at all.
Right.
They are doing their work. I hear from one of the players, I happen to turn up. I turn up to my work to do my job.
Right.
Who's in the wrong? Me or them?
Them. But you've not turned up to work yet.
Hold on. No.
I think you lot are missing that.
No, not saying you lot. Not yet you lot. Yeah. Individual is speaking. And I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
You could still be employed.
Hold on. I don't
like you with no beard.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. It doesn't mean I agree, but I hear. And you're saying you could be. So let's go with a percentage. We like numbers. Numbers is everywhere. So let's go with this. What is the percentage of me having a job if you've already recruited a head coach and 2 wide receiver coaches? Remember, maths. This is maths for year 7. Year 7. Yeah. What's the probability?
Very slim.
It's slim.
No. Please. No. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, I'm answering. You pose the question.
Sorry.
I'm answering because we don't know. There's nothing official. Yeah, nothing has been made official. You don't know if you'll be offered an assistant role. You don't know if you're offered a quality officer role. You don't know whether you'll be.
We've seen the lineup.
I'm saying from what I know.
I think
you've been diminished, and I would say, okay. First and foremost, what I want to put the onus because I'm going to take off my hat. I'm tired of. Listen, you guys are in a position as black men. Yes, you're in a position. What have you done?
What do you mean? What have I done?
Okay, you want to.
What have I done in what?
No. Let me finish. Let me land. you want to coach for GB. You want to do it because it's something that's within you, and you want to help black men and players, footballers reach the heights that you guys have reached. Yeah. So have you yourself?
Can I just say it's not just
black men?
Players from
let him listen to the entirety of what he has to say.
I'm gonna walk off if I can't say.
No, that's why I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay,
I am.
So what have you two as people that want to make a change done? And when I mean done, have you contacted the new head coach and say, listen, I've heard that I'm no longer going to be part of your program, but is there any way I can still be involved?
Who's paying
because,
you?
Listen.
No, sorry. No, don't mock what he's saying.
Listen,
Please.
Because
I really want to hear.
Feeding
I really want to hear
because
this.
Listen, we know that racism is the beast that we have to slay in this league. But it doesn't mean you can't
in the
go
world.
and impact
in the
change.
world. You're right.
Listen, because I know what I've been through. I know that nobody opened doors for me.
Okay.
I had to go and kick the door down.
All right.
And sometimes you already know that sometimes as black men we have to kick the door down.
Gordon Bennett.
Even where there's no opportunity, we have to make opportunity.
I like what you're saying.
So,
and I'm gonna.
What stops you from doing that?
Can I answer this now?
Can you be so?
Now let me answer this. So, let's go with forget about the head coach right now. How did I get the job of the wide receiver coach? Well, I didn't apply at the time when they said there was a vacancy. I was coaching at the Warriors. The old coach, I can't remember his name. Scott something, I can't remember. Could be Scott Miller, I think so. He happened to be the GB coach, receiver coach. I went to him after the Warriors beat them, and after I spoke to him and I said, you know what, I would like to help out in GB. So I can't remember whatever year I got there. I spoke to him 2 years before. 2 years before, I'd like to help out. Then I contacted him again, and I contacted other people above the head coach at the time. I think it was Callan at the time then. I said, I would like to be on there. I contacted Tony Aversmith as well. So I spoke to numerous people. So imagine the year I became the GB coach, this is 2 years before.
Wow.
Right? And I went out of my way to say I want to be involved. I did that. They gave me all different reasons. They even said, yeah, you can come help. Then eventually, when it suited them or when it fit their agenda, I eventually got the opportunity to be an assistant to somebody who, ironically, and this is going to be horrible, doesn't have the capability that I had at coaching. However, when that same individual was the GB coach, when I was a player, he first came in from nowhere to coach. I spoke to him one-to-one, and I said to him, there's going to be different types of receivers that you're going to have at this GB squad. Right. And I understand that you don't have experience of dealing with those type of individuals and the standard of individuals and the level. And sorry?
Can you expand on that? Sorry.
I'm going to say a little bit on it. It's the fact that he hasn't got, what, you want the word experience? He didn't have that. So I said, look, the one thing you can't get away from in sport is fundamentals.
That's right.
And I said to him, look, this is how you can help rein people in, no matter who, self, anybody else. You got to keep going on about the fundamentals and certain things to help these guys understand whatever they do, we all have to fight in the right direction, but at the same time, remember your fundamentals, because we're going to have bad habits.
That's right.
And the reason why I use that is because if you're driving a car, we all know, some of us who've been driving for years, we've got some bad habits. Isn't it supposed to be 10 and 2? How many of us drive exactly like this? Right.
No.
So if my old driving instructor saw how I drive now, he was like, what are you doing? What happened to your fundamentals? And that's the thing. So I'm just saying, with GB at the moment, you're saying about going out there to go and speak to individuals. I did all that. Eventually, I got on the staff. But to be honest, I was basically trailing and constantly going after them. Nobody contacted me. So when you're saying break down doors, I broke down more than 1 door, 2 doors, 3 doors, different times, different years. 2 years beforehand, and then the next year after, and then eventually I got in. So why should I have to do it again for somebody to talk to me about me not having a job?
Right. Can I also get an opportunity to answer to what your question was? Now, off the back of what Jeremy was saying, right? Once he was through the door, right? He was the only black coach on the team, or possibly, right? I remember you contacted me and said about getting involved, right? And I was like, and we're all aware there's a stigma that
not
follows,
just you.
That follows,
I contacted numerous
coaches,
and they weren't just black coaches
that you thought was experienced. So
Thank you. That have played at a certain level.
There's a stigma that follows a lot of these teams, the national teams, right? Where we're not getting, where I think it's twofold again, where we're not getting enough of some of our best players, right? And some of that is because I've heard you speak about this before, about the representation as well. Yeah. So this is what goes back to you, my answer to you. I think once I was told by Jeremy, look, right, you need to try and get involved with the team, right? I know you are a good coach and you could help benefit that program, right? And I umdanad about it, like a lot. We've heard a lot of coaches do, especially if coaches, and I want to be blatant with it, especially coaches of color, right? So, but then I said, right. I saw that the advertisement came up for the DB role. This is just I was only with the program a year.
The application for the DB role?
Yeah, I applied for it.
Yeah.
The role. Sorry, didn't hear me. The role
came out.
The role was advertised, right? Transparency. It was advertised. I applied for it. I was.
So they had a vacancy and they advertised it.
They had a vacancy.
Yeah,
they advertised it. I applied for the role.
Convenient.
Same with mine.
Was given the role. Right.
Convenient.
But eventually
was given the role. Now, right. Now I can then go to all like players as yourself, because you guys are all still players, and say, look, right, this is the process, transparency. I am now part of, right, because I know some people say, well, I'm not going to bother getting involved with GB because what's the point? I might not get selected, or no one's going to recognise my skills or whatever. Or they're just going to pick guys from a certain team or whatever. I can say, look, right, a vacancy was made, right, was advertised. I applied for it and was given the job. So if I can go through the proper process and get involved in the team, right, there's hope for you. And as, right, me now being part of the squad, right, I would judge everybody fairly, right? You know,
because and this might sound horrible, but I'm gonna tell you as it is. My life hasn't been fair. People always say, "Oh, well, not everything's fair." Sorry. Until you've understood, unfortunately, not everyone gets to understand this. We know there's social economics, which can show people that they don't get certain fair treatment. But when there's social economics and the complexion of your skin, and you've had a history of seeing it in the sport that you love, and by the country that you're in, and you've got individuals that are not treating you fairly, when you get to that certain stage in your life, you say, do you know what? I'm going to make sure everyone gets a fair shot. I know how it felt. So it's one of those things of, if you've been bullied, you don't want to be that person to be a bully. You're grown. You know better. And that is, my thing is this. Yeah, I can't help the complexion I am. Nobody can help the complexion they are. But one thing that we can do is learn about diversity, understand complexion is one of the major things. But yet we have to understand there's people from different walks of life. 100%. And you must try your best, your utmost, if you're in a position of authority, to treat people fairly and try and help them progress no matter where they are. And like I've always said, and I said it again, you don't have to like an individual, but what you got to do is believe in what they can do, because they may not like you. You don't have to air it. All you got to do is say, do you know what? I can help you. And that's all I believed in. I wanted to go GB, number one, to help people around the country. And to be honest, I was coaching at different levels elsewhere. I've been on Jags camp.
You're busy.
I've been other coaches elsewhere. But I saw it as I want to help Baffa GB because I played on it.
Yeah.
And I want us to win. I want us to do well.
Yeah.
Our country is amazingly diverse. Or Great Britain. So Scotland and Wales, very diverse. Nice. Compared to loads of places. I believe we can win.
Yeah.
I believe we can win. But I only believe we can win if we have the right people in the right places. At the moment, I don't believe we do. And I know for a fact, let's do this. You do not have a GB squad with any black players.
Which, hold on.
It will never do well. You don't have a squad. No, hold on. Listen to what I'm saying without jumping in.
Yeah.
He does that.
You do not have a GB squad with any white players. Same thing.
Yeah.
You have the diversity of what the culture, the country, the culture, the vibe, the brilliance, all together combined. What builds us makes us strong.
That's right.
It's called unity. It's not hard.
I'm surprised.
And that's the problem.
None of you have asked the question why. Why do you think what took place happened the way it did? Because I don't
think you guys have the answers. I think that's why I haven't asked. Because
how it's because it's not official.
How do you guys know what the why is without one?
It's true. I don't know because no one's told me.
Okay, so looking at it for me, right, and I'll say it from my point of view, it would be right hard for. We started off this interview with listen our CV in effect, our accolades and so on and so forth. If I sit down right in an interview room, I'll tell you now, it would be hard for another coach that's around at the moment to sit down next to me and put his CV next to mine. And say, right, well, this is what I've done and this is what I've done. It's going to be hard. That doesn't mean that I should necessarily get the job over that person, right? Because he could be a better fit than myself,
right?
So
if I'm in IT,
but you just throw me off track. Right?
Not every great player is a great coach.
I totally agree.
Right.
So that's exactly what I said.
If your CV is playing,
but his CV is not just playing. Though. That's what he's saying.
I know. You see, what other coaching as a proven coach, apart from your Div 2 win with the London Olympics, Div 1 win with the final,
elevating his team.
What else have you done?
Elevating his team.
Coaches? Because he's looking at that.
Well, that's
because the person
that's
who's the head
fine.
honcho now or the gaffer now is looking at. Listen. I know I can trust him.
Why do you know you can trust him?
I can trust him. I know he knows how to win trophies. He knows how to bring players who don't know how to win and make them win.
So, sorry, who are you saying?
The head coach.
The head coach.
Yes.
Because he knows them.
He appoints his staff.
It's a bias.
So that would mean that you're saying that the person, and you are totally right in terms of that the person replacing me then, right, should have those accolades as a coach,
as far as I'm,
which is great,
yeah.
Right? So then my CV should be put down next to his, right?
Yeah.
But
yes.
But hold on.
In order
you
for
should
us,
say yes with
in
that one, and then
for us to know if that was the
yes
case.
and no.
And
You
if
know why I say no? Because we know that this open house recruitment process was already it was made clear that would not be the case. That's the new regime.
When? So who said the new regime is that?
As far as I said, the Baffa gave the head coach the power to appoint his own staff.
But nobody, they're giving him that, but that's not open to everyone. You know that because you know that. Like Neo said, he applied for his role. So what happened between when he applied, because he was the last member of staff that I know that was appointed. What happened between then
and it was on the
now,
website.
Correct.
Exactly. What happened between then and now?
Why have we not seen it available?
Personally, I haven't seen nothing where it said we've appointed Jason Scott and he has everything within his power.
Can I
the
expand
ability
on
to.
that as well?
Did you see it?
That I can't.
Can I expand on that?
I saw Jason Scott.
I think sometimes race can kind of derail conversations like this because then you can't really get to the truth of the matter. The issue is, and he mentioned the word boys club, and when you don't have an open and transparent selection process, you create a window for people to make that criticism about a boys' club. Now, when it comes to diversity, at the end of the day, we play sports. We don't play. We're not. It's not about everyone gets to have a piece or gets to have a go. It's about having the best people in the position or the right people in the position to win. Regardless, we could have an all-white squad. We could. If those were the best players.
Potentially. Yeah.
Potentially. Hold on. Because I was silent for this time. I'll let you guys go.
I'm sorry.
So we can have an all-white squad if they're the best players. We can have an all-black squad if they're the best guys at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's completely red, black or blue. It's got nothing to do with it. But the fact that they selected coaches without transparency is the biggest issue. Because you didn't even get an opportunity to make a state to back yourself, you know.
And that goes back to my thing is the why.
That's my
why did it happen that way?
I have no clue. They must have lost their goddamn minds when they did it because it just looks, as I said earlier, the optics are terrible, and I can't really say if there was malicious intent behind it or if there was really under the table, but
we don't know.
But they've left
covert.
They've left themselves open to that criticism, and that's what the issue is. When things are supposed to get better, then they've just taken a giant backstep with this.
So, and off the back of that, sorry, the reason again, the reason why, right? I've heard, right, as an older coach, older than yourselves, right? I've heard over the years this same thing. It's just going round in circles. When I mentioned, I didn't want to mention it to too many people, right? Before coming on here, because I didn't want word to get back to BAF or the GB and then they say, okay, let's tidy up ourselves after ourselves, right? So I've just left it, right? But I have had conversations straight away. It's, that happened to that guy and this happened to this guy. It's just, and I said, we can't, especially in the era that we're in, we just can't keep having these things happen over and over. That is why people lose confidence in the programs. That is why people say, I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna. I listened to your show and you had a coach on here who said, well, I wasn't interested in that role. Why is he not interested in the role? It's all the stigma that is attached to it. Why does it go GB. Right? We've got to, there's got to be a point where, especially as BAFRA is trying to make strides, they've brought in a CEO and he's trying to make a difference. So, and I think this is one of those occasions, right, where he's got to look at this, and this is why I'm on the show, so it's broadcast so a wider range of people will be able to hear. This is what happens. We can't let it continue to keep happening like this, right? And he needs to look at this and say, well, why did it happen? Everyone needs to be aware, but I think it has to come down to someone that has the power to look at it and say, well, either was you aware that this is how it took place? If you're not aware, then why wasn't I made aware, right? If you are aware that it's taking place like this, right, is this the type of response you want to get from your members that about how we conduct our business, right? Someone needs to look at it. It cannot just keep. I don't want. Right, as a former player, I played for GB from 1997 to 2006, right? And what I don't want, and now I've become a coach. I've moved on. Now you guys have taken up the mantle, right? I don't want you to be sitting here in 10 years telling the same story to a bunch of new guys,
and that is the
right?
problem.
Saying and me overhearing it and say, it still hasn't been fixed.
And this is where Neil started later. Remember, I said this, and that's why I said about my junior exploits. Played GB youth and GB seniors. The fact that it happened when I was in GB youth for many years, that there wasn't any black coaches.
Right.
And then there ended up being one black coach, and then, well, he wasn't a coach actually. He was just there on the staff. And then, now, Pete, like you said, it's not. It is in some ways. You cannot say something's not about black and white if you don't know. You weren't there. And this is my problem with everybody. You could be black, white, pink, purple. I don't care. Out of space. If you're not there and I'm there and I'm telling you what happened,
how can it tell me?
Hear my side. There's going to be other sides.
Of course.
but you cannot make that definite judgment. I understand. There's one thing that we don't like. Oh, you can't say it's just black and white. Well, I didn't make it black and white. The word black and the word white, I didn't make that. That was in the Enlightenment period. They made up that word, not me.
Yeah.
We weren't ever considered black and white. So in the long run, first and foremost, people need to take it back there. If you don't know it, start educating yourself. Number one.
I think
right?
Baffa
first and foremost, sorry.
by bringing in that post when they brought in what they said about diversity.
Yeah, but the problem
they've made it about.
The problem is it's not even just that. Like, here's a notes that I wrote, right? And I'm gonna tell you straight.
All out the window,
right? Diversity appears to be somewhat limited. How does Baffa ensure equal opportunities for all players and coaches in the sport in UK?
Can I ask you a question?
Right? Number one, I want him to hear this before you ask me questions. Yeah.
He's got his manifesto.
What are Baffa doing to demonstrate / support anti-racism in the sport here in the UK? Are Baffa aware they removed, which has been said already, removed 2 black coaches from the GB team? This took place without prior notice to the coaches or communication. What were their reasons for this approach?
In a week that they issued a statement about diversity.
Yes. Thank you.
Can I?
You can't answer a question if you're not Baffa.
Okay.
Let me hear. I'd like to hear.
I don't mind hearing.
I think the issue with a lot of people who have grievances with Baffas is all they have is questions and they don't know what the solutions are. So I want to ask you, I'm asking you, what does diversity in Baffa or GB actually look like to you? You know, in a sense of, you have to understand, like, when it comes to being black, Asian, or whatever, we are a minority.
Yeah.
So statistically, like, how many black coaches are going to be on GB for you to be satisfied that there's enough black coaches?
Hold on.
Or
are you saying numbers? What one you doing?
Well, I'm saying that I'm saying that you can't really put an arbitrary number.
I didn't say a number.
I'm just saying. So
you're saying a number.
So I'm saying, they need to just have a transparent selection process to give people opportunities, and if the right people.
You mean like the government does?
Agreed.
Hold on. Sorry,
Agreed.
I'm going to say this. Do you mean like the government does at the moment with their selection process within the government? Because I'll tell you this. I'll give you an example. Yeah. I'll tell you what they do.
Go on.
Fortunate that I do know of. They have it where you won't know so they'll have a selection process, and this is a fact.
Well, you don't know.
You don't know what ethnicity they are. You don't know if they're male or female. You don't know their age or whatever. All you can see is what they've done, and then after they have a post of how you can come to, what can you bring to the team. So then you'll write out your report.
So it's just
now,
strictly merit. Strictly
meritocracy.
Merit. There you go. I agree.
So don't you think Baffa should be doing that?
I think they're attempting to.
Attempting and got rid of in the same week. Remember those key things. You can only ask questions, but at the same time, Baffa is the ones that need to go out there. There was a person on some weeks ago, Coach Michael Dunson. Yeah. He asked a simple question. And he made a statement about how Baffa, what are they doing to erase all these things? And then lo and behold, we're on the show later on to see what's going on. And lo and behold, they come back? Have they spoken to Michael Dunson?
We're confirming some of the accusations.
They're confirming all the accusations.
Can I speculate a little bit about what they would answer to that?
No. This is what I say.
No. Go on.
Put words in a child's mouth.
Well,
he might know. He might know.
Unless you know.
I'm just saying. Can I speak? Yeah, that they've hired a diversity officer. So there you go.
Okay, so this brings me to a good. This brings me on to a good point. Okay, so
you should be happy with that.
Okay, so that's great. Okay, so can I ask, right? Because you guys had a show, right? Yeah. You just said about diversity. You guys had a show where accusations was made that potentially, right, that there isn't enough diversity, or right. I think even went as far to say there could be potentially systemic racism within organisation, right? Yes. That is what a diverse. If I was the diversity, the manager or whatever the position is titled, I would roll up my sleeves straight away because that is my exact role. Right. That's my exact role. As soon as I hear that, bring my ears with that. Right, I've got to get to work on this.
Yes. I'll be here on the show.
After that your show, right, where those accusations was made, were you officially contacted by the diversity manager to say what they are now going to be doing?
One of them called us for a chat, but they didn't
officially. Or okay, so they're looking into this. What
are they looking into?
What about us? What about us as members of BAFA? We all heard how many people Let me just finish, right? We've all heard those accusations, right? We want to be happy with this organisation. We want to know that we've been represented fairly by these organisations. What was their communication back to the wide? They might have contacted you personally, but I have got no idea what happened in that conversation. So what have they said? What have they said to us to say? This is what we're looking into. This is this is what we're going to do about that because we take that very seriously. We're seeing the posts that come out to say how seriously they take things, right? So where's the communications to us as the wider public to let us know, right, what is being done? Any accusation that should have landed slap bang on the diversity managers or representatives table, and they should have then said, right, I'm getting on that, I'm going to handle that, I'm going to make sure that this gets solved, and then they can then let out a statement or at the very least contact your show where it was aired and say, right, we heard this, right, we take these accusations about that very seriously, we will be looking into it, we will get back to you, right? Where is that comms? Nothing.
You're right. All we got was a call saying, "Do we feel aggrieved?" But there was no next steps or what this is what the future looks like. So
then how can we as paying BAFA members and people that players and coaches, how can we look at and expect that progress is being made within the league?
Can I just add a little bit and say that it's the job of the diversity person, whatever it is, to before it gets here, before you guys even get to have a complaint, or they are supposed to notice and preempt this, so we don't have shows like this.
I don't know who the diversity person is.
I don't know.
So
it's Kenny and Phoebe, but guys, we're gonna have to wrap. Kenny
right.
and Phoebe.
One thing I just want to make clear before you, no matter what's been going on since I've been playing in Youth GB is still going on now. I am almost 50. So that says a lot. And I've been playing football since 88. Wow. And I was in GB 1990. So if it's still going on then, and we are in 2020, I've been there. I've seen the so-called changes. And some of them have been good. A lot of them have not been.
We just want,
and this is my problem.
Transparency.
I'm telling you what I want. I want fair. If you cannot do fair, you don't deserve to have this. If there's one person at the top who's holding on to something, you got to do something about it. If you really believe in it, there are so many people out there. It's not just, like you say, and I know, and most of us know in this room, it's not about just black and white. It's about everybody that plays the sport. A lot of us play it because we love it. Yeah. We love the camaraderie. You've got big people, small people, tall people, thin people, and we're all together, and we're out there in the cold. And the coaches, when you're a coach, that's when you start appreciating even more. You're standing up there shivering worse than even some of the players. Yeah. But the thing is, you want people to improve. Not everyone. But a lot of us who've played this game and put our sweat and tears and blood into it, we want it to improve.
What we want is channels. Okay. So there's clear channels that you as I said, that we can see, you guys as players can see that there's a channel through to a coaching position. Exactly there's a channel through to a potential being part of the representing the national team. Yeah. Right? There's a channel through to if we wanted to be part of the BAFA board. Yeah. You know, there's a pathway that what we don't want to see is that there's closed doors and we can only get so far.
Yeah. No, I agree. Visualization is a massive thing, and I for one say all the time, I think a lot of people in my position or in teams that are representing the Warriors, Blitz, Tamworth, a lot of them, especially from diverse backgrounds, are like, we don't want to do this because we can't see our guys there. There's no one that's going to mentor us, sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely a big thing, and hopefully something that gets sorted out sooner rather than later. But on that note, guys, man, it's been a long one. It's been a good one. And honestly, I want to do this again sometime. And there were so many gems there, so much knowledge was shared, and hopefully the next time we gather up, there's some positive changes. But yeah, hopefully the wider audience, Baffa and the Ballers, listen to this one and make some serious changes. Peace out, gang.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Coaches, thank you.